Welcome to the Hometown Legends podcast series with your host, Mary and Mello. Today's special guest is Peggy Davis, someone who has served 19 years at Virginia State University as the Associate Vice President over athletics. Miss Davis, we are honored to have you joining us today on the Hometown Legends podcast series. And again, thank you for taking some time out your day to join us and just share a little bit about your career and what you have been doing in the athletic department.
Well, Mary, first of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak out, you and Mello. I am certainly excited. I love talking about athletics. I love talking about opportunities that we provide to young people, and more so the opportunities since 1972, Title IX, for women and girls in athletics. It's just a lot of times we take things for granted, and this was something that when it came along, in my opinion, it came along at the right time. When it did come along, I was 11 years old. So it helped me to continue to catapult my career, playing career and professional career because of Title IX. Because of the entitlement that I received being able to participate. Because before Title IX, of course, I was playing with the little boys. I was playing basketball, with them and playing softball with them because we didn't have that support that we needed. And so, in order to be able to participate in any type of athletics, little camps and summer camps and different things, you have to be on the boys' team, which was okay because from that standpoint, it made me a little tougher. you know it made me more challenging to them, because they didn't want to get shown up by a female, at the time, and I wanted to prove at that time that I could do just what they could do, just as good as what they could do it. And I was certainly excited to be able to, when I got into playing, past my 11-year-old self, and having the opportunity, we got tennis shoes and we got shorts and we got, uniforms and different things of that nature as well. We got to travel away from school to participate in events. So it meant a great deal, as it continues to mean a great deal today to all of the young people, now, and those that are coming behind us, because of those who went in front of us and fought the fight so that we could have that right to be able to say, yes, we are women, we are young girls, we do matter, we are participating. So how are you going to provide the resources, the benefits, so that we can have the same opportunity as the young boys and men in the sports? Let me talk about my career. Um, so I started out, of course, playing basketball only. Loved every minute of it. Then joined the volleyball team. Loved that. When I started out playing, we were playing half court basketball, and half court was you could only go to the division line, and then you had to pass it over, to those that were playing on the other side. You were not allowed to do, and that was up until my 11th grade year that we played half court. Whereas, we were complaining and saying, well, why can't we run the full court like the boys do? Because only the girls' teams were playing half court basketball back then. And then in 1979, I think it was 79, yeah, they allowed us to now play full court. And we felt like that we were just as important then, to be able to start playing full court as the guys did. Then I, was fortunate enough to get a scholarship, to go to college, played ball in college, and then had an opportunity to get a scholarship, because at the time my parents could not afford for me to pay for me to go to school, you know, away from home. It was always that opportunity to go to school closer to home where I could go to school and commute back and forth. But the scholarship that was offered to me allowed me to go away from home because it would cover the housing, the room and board, and the tuition and fees and different things. Um, and so just watching my coach, my entire career, I had women coaches, and that inspired me, to get into coaching because I wanted to be the woman's coach as well, to be able to teach young girls, how to play basketball and how to play volleyball. And it all stemmed from my experience of being able to play starting at 11 years old and be recognized as a student athlete at 11. After college playing, I stayed in college because I still wanted to make a difference, in the lives of young women. And I stayed on the collegiate level and started coaching at Howard Payne University, which was my alma mater. Coached there until I moved on to Angelo State University, coached women's basketball there, and then moved to Virginia State University, where I started out in 1997 coaching women's basketball. And I did that up until 2003. And I felt like I would have a bigger impact on the lives of young people, both male and female, by moving into the athletic administration. So that opportunity was provided to me. And so now I have a direct impact on all the lives of our young people within our athletic department and then some of those across campus. But it would not have happened had it not been for the Title IX passing in 1972. I would not have been given this opportunity. And even so today, we're not there yet, because we don't have enough women in leadership roles, in my opinion, on the collegiate level. You cannot be what you do not see. So, in order to allow access and opportunity, and I can make a difference, I see you there. So I know I can be there. And I think that's a great thing. I think, like I said, we have to continue to work on getting more women involved in the athletic administrator roles, because then we reach back and we choose the best candidates, for the positions. But there are a lot of great women out there who can lead and who have led and who provide great opportunities and access to young people.
That is outstanding. Now, you received a scholarship to play basketball in college. Do you believe that playing against the boys, they had an impact on your career?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You always want to compete against someone who's stronger, faster, jumps a little higher. So just competing against them, I think it may be more competitive, because I wanted to get they're pushing and shoving under there and they're not taking it easy. But it allowed me to build up my physical skills. It also provided me an opportunity to enhance my personal skills as well, with basketball. And so, yeah, I think it did. I think it helped me, but at the same time, I think it limited access, to young girls because they only put one or two of us on a team. You know, you can have one, and we're gonna have the boys are gonna be the rest of to make up the rest of the team. So absolutely, it helped me to become a better athlete,
Hmm.
and it helped me to be able to become a better communicator, I believe.
Okay. And whenever you had to make that adjustment of playing half court your 11th grade year to the next following year, being able to play full court, I mean, tell us about that experience.
Man, it was like going to the Olympics, you know, because can you imagine going full speed and having to come to a stop at the division line at the half court mark, you know, and then, which also, with that being said, it limited us on either you're going to play defense or you're going to play offense, right? Because if you're on the offensive side, you only got to shoot. If you're on the defensive side of the court, you only got to play defense. So you didn't have an opportunity to enhance your shooting skills, you know. So I mean, it was like I said, we got to play now offense and defense. You weren't just categorized as an offensive player or just a defensive player. It was great.
Speaking of those that was in the fight before you, man, what was something that you took away that said, you know what, like you said, you coached basketball and you knew you could have a greater impact going into the administration, athletic administration office. What was something that you really wanted to focus on specifically to change the culture in athletics specifically for women?
Well, I wanted to make sure that our young women understood that participating in athletics is a privilege. It is not a right. So, because the opportunities have been afforded to us, we had to challenge ourselves every day to be the best that we could be. That means you've got to go to practice. You know, that means you have to continue with your academics to make sure that you're being successful. And I say all the time, don't forget the purpose. And the purpose is to get a college degree. And so for young women, when I meet them and get with them on campus, I always try to encourage them to do better, because I encourage myself every day, do better today than I did yesterday. And that's one of the things that I try to preach. Also, we talk about leadership. you know Sometimes you got to be a turtle. you know and those women that came before me, they were turtles. And what I'm saying is they stuck their neck out, because the only time you see a turtle making progress is when they stick their neck out. And so they stuck their neck out to what was right. So I try to do that every day. I try to make sure that our budgets are balanced between male and female. I absolutely make sure that when I took over in the administrative role, we were no longer sleeping four girls to a room, even on the college level. You know, everybody's going to have their own bed, because I did not and had not seen four boys sleeping in the same hotel room. When you travel. But women, they always had they said, okay, we're going to put these four together. You know, and so let's make it an even playing field. Let's not send our women to eat at a fast food restaurant and allow the young men to go sit down at a restaurant where you got full service. And so I really tried to make sure that our women were not traveling in vans while our men were traveling in buses. So across the board, if our men got new uniforms and our women needed new uniforms, then let's get new uniforms. Let's make sure that we have locker room space, that is adequate for both male and female. Because what you want to do is you want to provide the resources so that they can be successful. And one of the things about playing sports is you want experiences and develop good experiences. You want quality experience, because you're going to get an experience wherever you go. But it is our job to provide a quality experience to those student athletes, male and female. So each day, I try to encourage our student athletes. I try to encourage our young women. We're going to dress for success every day, because we are our own brand. We're our brand. Our brand is not Nike, Adidas, Puma. We are our brand. And so every day, when you step out of your dorm room, your residence hall, step out of your home, you're representing you. And we are the future, because those young girls that are coming up today are looking at us and them, because somebody else is going to be a turtle later on down the road.
Your leadership and competitive influence has guided the Trojans to over 20 NCAA Division II tournament appearances, as well as 22 CIAA championship titles, 18 CIAA division titles, and 43 Coach of the Year honors. Do you think that providing those quality experiences that you just spoke of has influenced the boys and the young ladies to come together and work as a team and to win these titles?
Oh, absolutely. Winning is important. Winning does not define our programs, but if winning was not important, they would not keep score. They keep score for a reason. Okay. At the end of the day, we provide resources to be successful. Success is winning, right? On the competitive field. Now, I tell our student athletes all the time, don't get confused with purpose and goal. The purpose is to get a college degree because we're an institution of higher learning. The goal is to win championships. Okay. So keep those two separate, but at the same time, you can achieve both at the same time. And in order to do that, you have to understand where you're going, where you want to be, and then realize where you have been.
That's a lot right there. How often did you use life experiences to teach lessons to like your basketball team? How often did you compare life and basketball together?
Oh, all the time, even today. Um, when I talk about getting to the bus on time, I tell our student athletes and our coaches, what you do now will directly impact the rest of your life. positively or negatively. If you can't get to the bus early today, how are you going to get to work on time 15 years from now? If you cannot dress the part today, how is your supervisor going to count on you to dress the part at work? So I relate everything, everything. If a student athlete says to me, "Oh, I don't have time to do my homework," well, did you have time to sleep? Did you have time to eat? So what if the official on the court says, "Look, it's you got to shoot a free throw." You say, "Why? I don't want to shoot a free throw. I want to make a layup." Well, no, but it's time to shoot a free throw. Well, no, but I want to make a layup. So everything's not going to go your way, and you have to understand that. But at the end of the day, everything that we do athletically is a direct impact on our life down the road from a discipline standpoint. And I say, look, do what has to be done when it has to be done, and then do it that way all the time.
When you transitioned from playing to coaching, what type of adjustment did you have to make, whether it was in your life or your style of coaching and teaching? What type of adjustment did you have to make when you got into the college arena?
Well, first of all, I didn't have to ride the bus to the games anymore. Okay. Secondly, and nothing, absolutely nothing against Golden Corral, I didn't have to eat at Golden Corral anymore. So when they asked me, "So why'd you get out of coaching?" When I said, "Because I don't want to ride the bus and eat at Golden Corral." You know, adjustments. Pretty much it was working a little later. Okay, because I lean in. Whatever job I have, I lean in and put my head down and I get to work. I want us to be the model department. So I put a lot of time in. I want to make sure that we are within NCAA compliance. So I put a lot of time in. Um, I have open door policy to my entire coaching staff and my student athletes, which means I get to work early and I work late. But that's because I owe it to our student athletes and our coaching staff to lean in and get the job done. Um, my husband and I have been married for 37 years. We He understands my goals. I understand his goals. He's very supportive as I'm supportive to him. So that was not a big transition, with me working later, you know, um, because I was doing it with basketball anyway. We have two children. They grew up with their mother coaching. What I tried to do is to be inclusive with them, to include them everywhere I could. Because you hear a lot of people, they question, can I do it? Especially young mothers. Can I go into coaching and raise my family and be a good wife? Absolutely. You can be one of those wives that sit home that do not have to work. You know, you got it so where you can stay at home every day. But if you're staying at home every day watching soap operas and or downstairs and the kids are upstairs, you might as well not even be there. So what I did learn is take advantage of quality time, you know, and use that quality time so that the entire family enjoys the quality time. Be where your feet are planted at the time.
You spoke of being inclusive with your kids, with the family. How important was that establishing culture with your team, and as well getting into administration, establishing like a family culture? Like you said, you had an open door policy. How much do you feel? I mean, how much do you feel that dictated to the success of you and being leadership, and as a coach, which is leadership as well?
Oh, I remind my staff every day, family is family, and family is always first. Because if you cannot count on anybody else, you can always count on family. My mom said when we were getting ready to move out here to Virginia from Texas, she goes, "You know what? If you don't like it, come on back home. You can always come home." So we talk about um, including your family. Our coaches, their wives and husbands, they come to the games. Their children are at our games. So because I grew up in that realm of family first, being inclusive. I'm absolutely that way in the workplace with our staff. Sometimes you have to bring your child, your son, you sometimes you have to bring them with you, to work, because we're human. And so we everybody understands that family is family, and family is always first.
Speaking about like I said, Title IX, and this has been
Mhm.
the end of 50 years from where women are in leadership now to where it's at then. How far has it really come as far as women having at least more opportunities compared to then? And how much longer, I mean, or how much further do you feel is it for society to accept women in leadership roles more?
you know Looking back at 1972 to 2023, we've come a long ways. We have not come far enough. Okay. From where we have come in 1972 to where we are today. Yeah, that's significant. Are we there yet? Absolutely not. Are we getting the same level of respect today? Absolutely not. You know, I think we're trying, you know, I think we need to try a little harder, because we women work just as hard or harder, sometimes than our counterparts, our male counterparts. We just have to continue to fight for what we believe in, as long as what we believe in is right. Sometimes you can fight for the wrong thing. Do we deserve to have more women leading? Absolutely, not just in athletics, you know, across the board, because we can lead. We can lead. I think we have to be more supportive of each other, to help each other grow, and not I got mine and now you go get yours. I think it's important that we articulate our goals, as women. Sometimes we can um, not really want to tell people where we want to go, for fear of, oh, somebody else may get there before I do. I think we have to be more inclusive. I think we have to support each other more, because we do have women in leadership roles. We have women at the highest level, you know. Um, and then I think we have to trust our counterparts to help us to continue to grow.
And speaking of that, what should women do differently aside from men to be involved in these leadership roles?
Be seen.
Mm.
Okay. It's not enough just to be in the meeting. They got to know you're in the meeting. Visibility is credibility, no matter how you look at it. Be visible. Okay. Allow people to see you, and then take advantage of opportunities. We have so many opportunities that come our way. We got to take advantage of those opportunities. Okay. If we do not know, learn it. Okay. If we know, teach somebody else to help them grow. Visibility is key.
With that visibility, how do you recognize a woman getting a leadership position and that's just being something symbolism? How often do you see situations where women are given positions, or maybe let's just say appointed positions for symbolism versus naturally genuine, giving a woman the opportunity to show that she can lead?
I think you see that quite often. I think you see it because of the mandates. I think sometimes we put women in situations to where, okay, I need a woman, so I need you to take this role. It doesn't matter if you know how to do it. I just need you to be here. I think you see that often, okay? But I think what surprisingly is those women that get in those roles excel in those roles. They excel and they become the teacher, you know, of the person that put them in the roles. I just think today that we have to continue to push the envelope. I think we have to continue to climb, continue to put ourselves in situations and positions to where there's no other option but to use the female. because that's the best person for the job.
Well, speaking of you, Miss Peggy, you serve on numerous committees. You've served on the NCAA and the CIAA committee, the Division Two Atlantic, excuse me, the Division Two Atlantic Regional Advisory Committee for baseball. You know, you are so involved not only with just specifically basketball, with all of these sports. What decided to make you want to branch out and be involved in sports that a lot of women aren't involved in?
Because it's important to my gender. It's important to women, and it's important to my children.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I coached basketball. I didn't play baseball, but it's important to see that yes, I can sit on a men's sport committee
Mm-hmm.
and have input. You know, I can educate myself well enough to know that what I say is viable. I think that's important. And it goes back to, again, visibility is credibility. You know, to whom much is given, much is expected, or much is required. I think if we continue to put ourselves in outside the norm, you know, for us, I think people will then more recognize the fact that, you know what, they can do it. Because at the end of the day, the goal is to make sure that our students and student athletes have a quality experience. No matter what the sport is, no matter what the position is putting students first. And I say that I wouldn't be here at Virginia State University had it not be for the students at Virginia State. So remembering why I'm here, why I do what I do, allows me to be who I am and to lead.
Okay. Great. That's great. With your leadership and overseeing just sports, general athletics, and just still having a presence on campus, what challenges have you faced? You know, regardless if it was just on campus, in the athletic department, on the baseball committee, going back to just the symbolism, but you know, making sure that you were visible, you were being heard, you were there, your presence was known that you were there. Could you speak on a situation to where you had to show that, hey, listen, I know what I'm talking about to get your respect? Obviously, because we know there's a lot of sexism in this world.
Well, not really. I think the key is preparation. You know, if you're prepared, if you have your supporting documentation, your supporting facts, then there's really no pushback. You know, because you can always pull out. Well, you can pull out the record. You know, you can pull out strength of schedule. You know, you can pull out opponents. So it's not really. It really hasn't been very challenging, but I try to go into each meeting prepared so that I don't have to say, well, you know what, you're right, because I was not prepared. So there's not really any challenge. Preparation is key. You know, preparation, and preparation. So everything that comes back at you, you have a response that is accurate.
This is the Hometown Legends podcast series. Today's special guest is Miss Peggy Davis, the Associate Vice President for Intercollegiate Athletics, and also a former basketball coach as well. Um, let's move on to like speaking about Don Staley, CC Vivian Stringer, and other female black women that's in these Power Five schools that's winning now. Speaking of visibility as well, we're seeing that the numbers is starting to increase as like when with viewership in sports as well.
Hmm.
When you see someone like CC Vivian Stringer from where she started, you know, Coach Vivian Stringer, Coach Staley, and the others, how do you feel today knowing how the impact that you had as well and how much it takes a village to get to the ultimate goal?
Look, I absolutely love it. I do. Because not only did C. Vivian Stringer, trailblazer, winner, mother, wife, national championship winner, prove that it can be done, that has helped Don Staley. That has helped high school coaches. That has helped so many young girls to say, you know what, that can be me. And how do I know? Because I see it, because of the visibility of C. Vivian Stringer, because of what Don Staley is doing today and her messaging, because of Alfreda Goff, you know, because of Marion Washington, those women who laid the foundation has helped. I listened to Don Staley speak about what Carolyn Peck did for her after Carolyn Peck won a national championship, and how Don is continuing the same practice. And then the next person will continue the same practice. That's huge for women's basketball. It's huge for athletics. It's huge for African American women. It's huge for young women and young girls in athletics today. So I just, you cannot imagine how excited I am about finally the table being turned to see and provide opportunity, because all we needed was access. All we needed was access, you know, and where there's access, there's opportunity. And so look at the opportunities that are coming today because of the access. I think that's huge, huge for athletics.
And then, like you're saying, access, the Portland Trail Blazers, they have Tina Thompson and others, in their front office now, so the access this year was the first season that a African American woman was on the coaching staff of a Super Bowl team. We spoke
Yes.
about Jalen Hurts having an all executive staff, women executive staff. So, like you said, the visibility, the opportunities is starting to be accepted more. And I don't even like using the word accepted, even though that's like how society has, but
Hmm.
it's just being known that it's okay. This is life.
Yeah.
A woman's place is the same place as a man's place, but it's all about everyone working together for just the ultimate success.
Hmm.
In professional sports with the WNBA, who also just hired someone with the Atlanta Dream to oversee their executive staff. What would you like to see done with the NCAA and the WNBA more as far as visibility for women in general with opportunities in the executive positions?
First of all, before we get to the executive positions, I'd like to see more prime time, okay, for women, NCAA Division One. Put some Division Two in there because I'm Division Two. WNBA, provide the visibility, okay, for those young girls who are watching, who are dreaming, who want to be there. I think for executive leadership, I think continue to grow, continue to enhance, continue to include. The LA Raiders football staff just hired an African American woman as president, you know? So why not? It's time. It's time. And I was listening to her speak, when someone says, well, I mean, how does it feel? Weren't you nervous? Well, yeah, but guess what? 31 other presidents at some point were the first. That was their first time to do it as well. So we can do it. We can absolutely do it. We just have to be provided the opportunity to do it.
Would you share a piece of history for us that we may not know about? Um, Athletics, life that you feel relates to Title IX, and just being this is Women's Her Story Month.
Well, I can tell you that one of the institutions where I worked, um, we traveled and we would take sack lunches. Men did not take sack lunches. So we've come a long way. We've absolutely come a long way. And I'm just proud of the fact that I'm still involved in athletics. The fact that I can see the change happening. It's not We're not there. We're not there, but we have come a long way. And I think as we continue, to follow the leader and to take the lead and to be the turtle. I think we will continue to enhance and see athletics and see women and girls in athletics and leadership roles. I think we're narrowing the gap.
And you spoke on being the first to do it. You were the first female to lead the 12-member historic athletic conference. To know that you were the first female to lead that conference, how did that feel?
Well, full disclosure, I was the first to lead as the interim commissioner.
Okay.
It felt great because when they asked me, I did not have any doubt that I could get the job done. There was no doubt because I was confident in my ability, I was confident in my leadership skills, and I knew what the mission was of the conference.
What is one thing that you're working on now that you know for athletics? Well, like with NIL, how do you what do you see that you could work on with NIL and athletics and women?
Well, that's a really great question. Um, I think we have to be more visible, which I'll keep going to that. I think we have to talk about opportunities for women. When you who goes shopping in your household? It's the woman. We're the ones that go shopping. We're the ones that go buy the groceries and different things of that nature. I think for us, we have to provide more education. We want to invite more of our constituents in and talk about the great things that our women are doing as well as our men, because NIL is not going to go away, but I think there's enough so that men and women can both capitalize off the successes of the NIL.
Uh, Going back to visibility and with NIL and being in the executive position that you've been in for years, where would you put the focus to educate men and women dealing with NIL to where the NCAA won't be able to take advantage of them anymore? I mean, it's so much going on, but what's the focus in the education part with NIL that you feel should be a major concern um, for athletes?
Well, I think first of all, um, the student athlete has to understand and know the whole story before signing contracts. I think you have to read the fine print because that is going to impact them possibly for the rest of their life. I think they also have to know what their goals are. What are their core values? Your goals may change, but your core values stay the same. So, what's important to you? What's important to you? How do you want to be recognized when you're not in the room? I think those are the types of education. So you don't want to go out and support everything. Everything has a price. Everything has a price, whether it's financially or from a liability standpoint, everything has a price. So I think what's the education part for our student athletes and for student athletes across the board is to make sure that you protect yourself and read the fine print. Because at the end of the day, somebody's going to have to pay taxes.
Yes, ma'am. What advice, or I don't really want to say advice. Well, why would you promote a HBCU to someone coming from, let's say, the North or the West that may not be too familiar about the HBCU culture and opportunities with education first and foremost, and with the opportunities with athletics?
Wow. I was not fortunate to attend an HBCU in my undergraduate nor my graduate education. But what I can tell you is the historical experience that you will get at HBCUs, the family first that you will get at HBCUs, the nature versus nurture that you will get at HBCUs are unmatched. We're providing quality education, you know, doctors, lawyers, judges. have attended historically Black colleges and universities. And so our doors are open. We're providing information, we're providing a roadmap, and we're providing opportunities to individuals to get a good quality education.
Just from a whole looking, having some fun with this. It's March Madness.
Okay.
It's a great chance a few HBCUs will be in a tournament. When you see that part of it, again, going back to your word, visibility. I know, like you said, we've come a long way, but we still have a long way, ways to go. But when you see the HBCU schools like TSU upset schools last year, and the HBCU versus the Big Ten ACCU, I mean ACC conferences this year, the HBCU won most of those games. Looking at it, how impactful do you feel that is when it comes to recruiting for HBCUs, going into the homes of students, saying, "Look, we're competing athletically with the Dukes, North Carolinas, and schools of that nature."
Recruiting is a lifeline to any sports program on the collegiate level. Okay. Not only is recruiting the lifeline, funding is a lifeline as well. You know, so our HBCU institutions, they're representing us. They're representing us positively. You know, I think where the difference is in the financial support across the board for our member institutions to be able to possibly attend some of those high profile contests, you know, and the lack of visibility to our HBCUs from television.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You spoke about providing quality education at VSU. The school has also made a lot of improvements specifically to the athletic facilities to provide quality experiences.
Hmm.
During your time there, what are some major improvements that the school has made to enhance the sports programs?
Well, we have put in an NCAA certified track that will be ready this spring. This is the second time we've done this in over my 26 years here at the institution. We've opened a multi-purpose center that seats 6,500 individuals. You know, we hold concerts. It's a great arena for our coaching staff, men and women's basketball. With sorry about that, men and women's basketball, and also volleyball and cheering. We have outstanding locker rooms. We have just put field turf down on our football field. We've purchased new scoreboards, for softball, baseball, and football, the Jumbotron. We've just added men's lacrosse, men's soccer, and women's soccer to provide additional opportunities, to young people who want to be a part of Virginia State University Trojans. And so there are a lot of things that we've purchased new motor coaches, for our student athletes to travel comfortably. So we continue to enhance our program because we want our student athletes to be excited about where they are. We want them to be excited about the offerings that we have, the facilities that they compete and practice in, not just from an academic standpoint, because our academic buildings are second to none. We're building a new academics building on campus now, to enhance the experience not only of our student athletes, but our entire student body as well as the faculty staff. So we have a lot of things going on campus. And what we do is we continue to raise the bar. We continue to set goals for us to be successful, to provide that success for our student athletes and our student body.
Sure, we have a couple minutes left, Miss Davis. Again, we appreciate you taking time out of your day to
Thank you.
join us here on the Hometown Legends podcast, so that we can highlight you and your accomplishments and your story and your her story as well, along with your contributions to culture and to sport in general. Um, what would you what? what would you like for your final words to be? A message going away with for us to all think about, or something, to adapt to our life.
Continue to reach, continue to reach. And that encompasses a whole lot. And if it's easily reachable, it's not high enough. So continue to reach for your dreams.
Thank you, Miss Mary. Any last closing words?
I don't have any final closing words, but again, we wanted to say thank you for joining us today and everything that you said, especially about the visibility and making sure that you reach for your goals. Everything that you've said has been very important, and I've definitely taken some notes here.
Okay. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Definitely, thank you.
Mhm.
And today's special guest is Miss Peggy Davis, Associate Vice President for Collegiate Athletics. We would again like to appreciate her and thank her for joining us here on the Hometown Legends podcast series. Everyone
Thank
continue
you.
being the difference that you want to see in the world and continue blessings.
Thank you.